Hey, welcome back to the channel. It's awesome that you're tuning in. So I wanted to do a follow-up virtual pinball video. Quite some time ago when Arcade1up released they were going to make some Arcade1up pinball machines, I was pretty damn excited. But now there is more information and they even released, or better said, they are going to release this Marvel cabinet. And in this video I just wanted to do a quick chit chat with you guys because I'm excited. I hope I can get my hands on one of these because I'm a big pinball fan. And also did a review of my personal cabinet. I already own a 4K very wicked machine myself that I basically built myself. So this is thus not the reason why I want to have this Arcade1up. And funny thing is, the Arcade1up will never be like the machine I'm already having here. But then what makes me really exciting is that this thing is something totally different. And in this video I just want to do a quick side-by-side comparison what is so different with the Arcade1up machine and the mini version I'm having here. To begin with, I think it's pretty damn awesome that Arcade1up is getting into the virtual pinball machine. They have released so many arcade cabinets, I really own some of them, and I'm very excited to see what they are going to make, because at the end Arcade1up have proven themselves they can make affordable stuff what you can basically enjoy for many years to come. Let's talk about why I'm pretty excited about this Arcade1up cabinet. So to begin with, this thing comes with stereo sound and DMD. The back box itself, it's just a basic picture, but you can modify it. I'm sure Retro Elf can do that. When you have multiple games on the device, it's just cool that it switch out to a different back box in my opinion. So when you're looking at the playing field, or basically it's a 24-inch LCD display, they lowered this, and I understand now why this is. At first in my previous video I was not very pleased about it, but when playing some games with my own virtual pinball machine I keep realizing why they did this. For a great example, here I am having the VPX10 table, and as you can see it's a beautiful VPX10 table, but there is not really in-depth in the game, and I understand by lowering the playing field you give more like an in-depth of just playing on a real pinball machine. When you're having the camera above it, it doesn't have this, let's say, effect of course, but I understand when you're lowering the LCD itself it will give you a completely different experience. But what I did notice with, let's say, VPX10 tables like the Adams family, the table already has a little bit more like in depth itself. And that is something that you only have when you're having the position of the LCD like my Wicked machine. And as you can see, I don't know how you like this, but I think it's pretty damn awesome having the view angle like this. But sadly, there are not a lot of tables having this. And that brings us to the Pinball FX. Because at the end, Pinball FX will be available in your arcade machine. There is nothing really clear about how many games you're going to get, but at the end, it's really damn awesome having these VPX10 tables. You will not have the LCD as a back box, so you don't have the effect that you're seeing here, but you're having the little DMD, so I think that's a pretty cool addition. So I'm excited to having Pinball FX. What I personally don't like about Pinball FX itself is very simple, that there are the effects that zooming in, zooming out, but that's something personal. So I think it's pretty cool that it has a DMD and two little speakers for sound. I think it doesn't have a subwoofer like my machine, so that is something you can add maybe yourself. But with my machine I run on 4K and I need a very expensive and very powerful machine inside. So with the Arcade1up, that makes me exciting and wondering what kind of machine are they running. With Pinball FX you don't need a lot of power nowadays. For example, you can run it on a very expensive Android box. But what kind of specifications will they use and how will it look? Thing that is very fascinating about these Arcade1up budget virtual pinball machines, because if you're looking at the expensive version I built myself, I have this crazy expensive plunger that I needed to use in my machine for having the, let's say, more like authentic experience. Of course I still have the lunch ball, so I have an option, so I can basically play all tables like it should be. But also I needed a very expensive encoder board with gyro function, and the Arcade1up has it all. It's just crazy, including some solenoids. So man, Arcade1up is going all in for not a lot of money, because they are going to sell this, let's say, pinball machine. They're saying to try to sell it for $5.99, but even $6 or $7.99 can be a very good deal. So let's go to my buddy and fellow YouTuber Retro Ralph, who he did a video about the toy shark. Or it's better than the toy shark, but shark sounds indeed way better. He gave me a very good impression of the machine. I didn't like this very tiny display inside this very big cabinet and this gigantic bezel. It only had a couple of Gottlieb games, and to be honest, that was not really exciting. There were a couple of pinball games, so it was a pretty good all-included deal. But it was not very cheap. I think these things were around $5.99, correct me if I'm wrong. But I think Arcade1up is going to nail it, simply because they have so much extras, and of course they are working with Pinball FX. But it's of course also a very good cabinet that you can modify. And it brings me to Retro Ralph in this case. So Retro Ralph shown that there are a lot of possibilities when it comes to modifying cabinets. Keep in mind, it's still very expensive. You need to buy decals, need to modify a lot of stuff, and not to forget, you need to add yourself a gaming PC if you render, let's say, tables on higher resolution. But still, it's pretty cool. And with Arcade1up, you have a ready to go pinball machine, and I know for sure Retro Ralph is going to mod that shit out of that cabinet. But at the end, it's pretty damn cool, and it gives new possibilities, and very affordable. What I really like about my personal machine is that it has so much possibilities. When looking up to the Arcade1up, I think this can be a very nice step in for a lot of people who are interested in the virtual pinball, because there are not a lot, let's say, good options out there. It's a big problem that when you're building a machine yourself, if you need to buy the cabinet, the display, the gaming PC, and all the peripherals that is needed, like encoder board, plunger, buying all of the parts is super expensive. And I think Arcade1up will give us this option for the people who are just interested in this and just want to learn more about it. You can always buy a cabinet, sell it, and make your own cabinet in the future, or just modify Arcade1up. Nevertheless, I think this is going to be very interesting. A quick look back to the pinball machine of Arcade1up, it gives us so many options that you can only find in an expensive machine that I built myself. And I think that is the little bit of an extra that you're going to get with these Arcade1up machines. That is just amazing. And that is, again, that makes me super exciting. And again, it still need to see what kind of 24-inch HD television they are going to use inside this machine. But again, everything that you're going to get in a real arcade machine is here with the Arcade1up. When you're saying 24-inch display, I need to think about the Sharpen that I've reviewed some time ago. Also a great way to play virtual pinball games. These machines are running on an Android box, for example the GT King, that is quite powerful. Let's say it comes close with the Nvidia Shield. So overall I had a very blast putting it together, playing some Android games, playing some Zen Pinball for example, and of course we have the option to play these games in full HD, and it looks amazing with this Android TV box. But again, if you want to see more you can always check the review, but I needed to mention this. I wanted to do this shout out to my buddy and fellow YouTuber Retro Ralph. I really like his show, he's a really funny guy and makes a lot of great reviews. And not to forget, he does a lot of modification if it comes to Arcade1up, and I'm hoping in the future we'll get a virtual pinball machine and we'll mod the shit out of this. But what I also like, and that is something that is very convenient if you want to have some of the latest updates regarding Arcade1up. Together with his buddy Console Kids, he makes these live streams where you chit chat about all that is Arcade1up. But nevertheless, check his page, and if you don't know what to do, my buddy Ralph has an answer to that.
Come with me if you want to live.